Hey, Savvies! Happy Tuesday! I hope that your day is off to a great start. I hope that you're having a productive day wherever you are. Speaking of, as you're jumping on, oh my goodness, we have a crowd ready to go. Hey, David, congratulations, Gold Star, for being the first one here. Let me know in the chat where you're watching from. I always love asking this question because it never ceases to amaze me how we have guests hang out with us from literally all over the world. So drop in the chat where you're watching from. Surprised, we're having two of these lives back to back. It's just kind of how it worked out in our calendar. But that just means I get to have this conversation 2 weeks in a row. So super excited to have my guest Meagan here. I'll bring her up in just a few moments. But today's conversation is really just connecting with somebody who is doing the virtual assistant thing and is rocking her business. In fact, she was just on a recent call where we celebrate hitting a new big milestone in their business. We were chatting before I came live about this call and how valuable it is for you as the audience. I can talk, Abby can talk, our team members can talk until we're blue in the face about how amazing the virtual savvy is and how the savvy system changes lives. And it does, and it is. But when you can actually connect with somebody outside who is actively using the products that we sell here at the Virtual Savvy and doing the virtual assistant thing, it is just a game changer. So before I bring Meagan on, I want to encourage you all to interact with us, ask us questions, comment to each other, support each other in the comments. The best lives are engaging lives. And I'm sure that you've been to some that aren't so fun or engaging to be at, and you may have left. And I don't want any of you to leave. I want you to stay here for the whole conversation. Shout out to Cherie and Melanie and Gloria and Trina and Shannon. Oh my goodness. So many people. Francis, Letitia is in Mississippi. Hey, hey. So glad that you all are with us today. All right. I'm going to bring Meagan on and we're going to jump right in. Hi, Meagan.
Hello. How are you doing today?
Good. All right. I'm joining from Missouri. Where are you joining from?
I'm joining from the Sunshine State of Florida.
Florida. Shout out to my Floridians. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say so. I haven't seen any in the chat so far, but here we are.
That's right. If you're from Florida, give Meagan a shout out. Or if you want to go to Florida, give Meagan a shout out. I've been there many times. It's a great state. Also, Meagan let me know before we jumped on that she may have a couple of cute little guests show up. And I told her and encouraged her, never apologize for the presence of your children in the room. I have a furry child somewhere. I think he's hiding behind me in the room. But that's one of the reasons why we get to do what we do, is because we don't have to apologize for their presence. So if they show up, we'll greet them with joy and it'll be wonderful. So I love that. All right, let's jump in, Meagan. I don't want to waste any of our time. So first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. We know you're from Florida. We know you have littles. Tell us about who Meagan is, what Meagan loves to do, all of those good things.
Absolutely. So, hi, my name is Meagan. I'm 26 years old. And first and foremost, I have to say go Gators, because that's where I graduated from. I graduated from the University of Florida in 2020. And I went on to complete my master's for a year in 2021. And this was in elementary education. So ever since I was a little girl, I had lots of educators who inspired me. So that's kind of the big reason why I went into education. And I was able to do that. I taught for 2 years in Georgia. Absolutely loved it. I got married to my husband. He was my high school sweetheart, is my high school sweetheart. We got married back in 2021. We moved to Georgia, taught, all of that great stuff. And then most of the reason why I've seen a little trend, not all, but most, is because we want to stay home and be with our littles. That's why we become virtual assistants. I found out in 2023 that I was pregnant, not only with one little, but I actually have twins. So I was lucky to have boy-girl twins. and we had them in 2023. And that's kind of where my transition happened. We moved back down to Florida where our family is. We live on our family farm where we grow and sell show cattle to kids that are in 4-H and FFA. So that's like a side passion that we do, but that's just a little bit about me. Oh, and I was telling Rachel before this, huge Disney fan. So even though I no longer live as close to Disney, I still make the trip quite often.
Oh, okay. There's so many questions that I have over just.
I know, I'm a very well-rounded character.
Oh, I love that. Okay, for those of you who aren't familiar, 4-H is no joke. Like, it's a big deal. I didn't know how big of a deal. I'm a city girl, so didn't grow up around 4-H or had any idea that this was happening until most recently when we lived in Texas.
It's huge out there. Yep.
Yes. And then rodeos happening all the time. But then at these rodeos, these 4-H clubs are showing up and they're showing their animals, and like they sell their animals at these rodeos, and what they go for is crazy.
Oh yeah. And that's Texas in general. It's not that big here in Florida selling wise, but yes, it is crazy what happens there.
It is insane. But I will also say this, like, how cool that you're supporting children in learning about nature and agriculture. I just think that's awesome. That was a fun fact, y'all, that I didn't even know. So welcome. Okay, so how old are the littles now? They're 2?
Yeah, they just turned 2 in April. So they're growing up right before my eyes.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so also, I didn't catch this. Did you start your virtual assistant business while you were teaching, or had you quit? Were you in transition? What did that look like?
So this is where I like to say my path to a virtual assistant was a little different. So I gave birth in April of 2023. And the school year ends in May in Georgia. So we planned it out to where it was the end of the school year. Things are settling down. And between my husband and I mean, we know the state of the economy and everything. Daycare is insane. So the cost of daycare, I should say. So we always had a plan of me staying home with them, and we're going to try to make it work, crunch the numbers, all of that. So I was very lucky. The first year of their lives, I got to be that full-time mama. I got to be here for every single milestone, feeding, all of that. And then this is where it gets a little different, is they had just turned 1 in 2024, and I had a family friend reach out to me. And she's more like my second mom, but she just reached out and said, hey, like, I know you're home with the kids. Do you want like some things to help me out with like her business? And it started out just like that. She had me doing some like back end stuff for her website, all of that. And I fell in love with it. I got that little itch, that little, maybe I can do this. I don't have to have a 9-to-5 job. I can kind of work my own hours, find my own clients. So she really gave me the opportunity of a job. I was already familiar with that term, virtual assistant, because someone else in my circle is a virtual assistant and a coach and all of that. So I kind of had a familiarity with the field, but I didn't know all of the ins and outs, the logistics. So I reached out to her, and she helped me get my foot in the door, as in setting up my business. But then shortly after I got all the legalities, my LLC, my website, my branding, that's when I came across the Virtual Savvy. And I knew, I was telling you before this, with the emails, when I saw these lives and I saw these stories from other people, that's really what inspired me, that sense of community, like, oh, maybe I can do this. So that lady, she reached out to me in May of 2024. I talked with my friend and got me started in June of 2024. And then I signed up for the Virtual Savvy in July of 2024. So we're coming up on a year of my business, a year of the Virtual Savvy, and I still can't believe, like, this is what I get to do.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to talk about where you are now in a hot second. But I told y'all the best lives are the engaging lives. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and I want you to answer in the chat, like whether you're on your phone or your computer or you're at work, no shame. I want you to let me know in the chat. And even if you're watching the replay, like feel free to tag me and let me know. What caused you to look into virtual assistants? Was it a person like Megan who just said, hey, I've got some things for you to do? Because that does happen, believe it or not as often, but it absolutely does happen. Or is it, I saw somebody talking about like unemployment and I don't have a job, so I'm looking for something. Or maybe you're stuck in a toxic job and you need to find something. You want to get out of that position. Let me know in the chat, like what caused you to start looking into virtual assistants, and would love to hear. Okay, so jobless. Yeah, like that'll cause you to start looking. Same thing with Kira. I lost my job as an executive assistant, so I decided to start my own. I love that grit. And I was a stay-at-home mom. I had 4 and 2 at the time, and I wanted that itch to scratch. Like I was a teacher. Megan and I share that in common, went to school to be an elementary teacher, taught kindergarten for a couple of years, worked with littles that were delayed in their development. And while I loved that job, I came home to be a stay-at-home mom, but money was tight. And I wanted to do something for myself and do something, for our family. So totally get that. Megan talked about or alluded to the idea of community here at the Virtual Savvy, and we don't take that lightly, whether it's inside of our Virtual Assistant Savvy's free Facebook group, or whether it's in our smaller communities that you get access to inside of our courses. We absolutely love the aspect of community and supporting each other and cheering each other on. And we're able to create that sense of community because we understand each other, right? We understand what we're working through. We understand the difficulty in marketing our business and the difficulty that can come up when we're making shifts and changes in our business. And we also get each other on why we're here. Like, and some of you, April says, I have the skills and I need to know how to get started. I also want to stay at home with a more flexible schedule. Girl, we got you. Miranda, a chamber director and a friend of mine, reached out asking for help. Now I have that itch, right? And Miranda, you and Megan connect because someone reached out to you. Like, you totally understand. Kayla, I was stuck in a toxic work environment and quit after months of looking for a job. Michelle wants to make money from home. Whatever reason it is, and you can read lots of them in the chat, we are here all for one main purpose, is to make a change in our life, right? We want something better. We don't have to follow the corporate ladder. We don't have to fit in the corporate box. There's not only one way to do this. And that's what I love about virtual assistants, is that there isn't one virtual assistant path to take. You get to make the choice. You get to make the choice on what you charge, what you offer, where you work, and who you work with. And you can change any of those at any given time. Okay, let's keep going. I'll ask more questions in the comments as we move along. So Megan, where did you start as far as services? We had a friend reach out. We started July of 24. We jumped into the Savvy system. That's our signature course, by the way, and started doing that. What did your business look like at the very beginning?
So in the beginning, I was I feel like everyone, grasping at straws. I knew that as a teacher, I think you are set in this way of being adaptable. Like, when you go into the classroom, not every single day is the same. Not every kid learns the same. So you kind of have to get used to thinking on your feet, finding new skills, bringing in new things for each child to learn. So I kind of took that mindset with my business. I've always been known as the IT tech, the friend who gets all of the computers and all of the programs. So I use that to my benefit. So when I first started marketing myself, I was kind of anywhere and everywhere. You had the administrative tasks. I put out there graphic design because that is my true passion, is making like marketing materials, not necessarily social media, but graphic design. But as I'm coming up on a year, and I would say in the last 5 months is when I've really made the switch to kind of specialize. And I talked about this in the call a couple weeks ago, is when I made that switch, I had to, and it was hard at first, but accept the fact that I don't need to take on every client. So yes, I've given up deals, which sounds really selfish or like that, but it was so worth it at the end of the day for my mindset, my happiness, because kudos to those people who like social media, but it was really becoming more of a like mental thing with me. Like I didn't want to do it. So then I'd end up like procrastinating and I just wasn't as efficient.
Yes.
So now I took that off of my list of services and I more focus on website design, like digital marketing and the facts of email marketing, or if they need like print flyers or stuff like that. That is mainly what I do now.
Oh, I love that. Okay, some things to unpack. Also, I see in the chat a couple questions about how to get started, or do I have to pay to get started? So there are so many resources out there available. As one who has experienced the Virtual Savvy products as a student first, and now one who gets to help develop them, I believe that the Virtual Savvy has the best there is to offer as far as both free resources and paid resources. You do not have to have a certificate, a certification. You do not have to have any particular training to be a virtual assistant. You do not have to pay to take a course. If you need help and support in starting your own business, we have an amazing course that you can purchase, and we will hold your hand and walk you through step by step, give you access to our community and exclusive job ops. The list goes on, but you don't have to do all of that. You can check out a lot of our free resources on our blog. Our team put a link in the chat for an amazing free training that we have that you do not have to pay for. We'll introduce you to the Savvy system at the end of that as well. But you get to start exactly where you know how to do and what to do. And Meagan, kind of painted that picture. And that's what we teach here at the Virtual Savvy. Start with the services that you can offer today. Don't start with, okay, I'm going to start a virtual assistant business and I know that I can charge at least $10,000 to build a website. So I'm going to offer website design. Now I need to go learn website design. Don't go that route. Allow yourself to follow the journey and follow the pivots, the niching down that Meagan alluded to as well, because that will organically happen. I guarantee it. Start with what you know how to offer now. Social media, general admin support, calendar support, travel arranging, whatever that looks like, whatever you can offer right now. In fact, here's my next question to you. If I came to you today and said, hey, David, Sheila, Sunshine, I need to hire you as a virtual assistant. What services do you offer? How would you answer my question? Now, I don't just want those three people to answer. I want you all to answer. Where are the services that you would start with today? Or maybe you're new and you've already started. What did you start with? What do those services look like? And that's where you want to start and begin, and then allow yourself to test it, try it. Like Meagan said, she just wanted warm bodies to say, yes, I will hire you. And then it kind of naturally changed. So as people are answering their services in the comments, Meagan, walk us through like what that transition looked like. When did you start to feel it's time to make a shift?
So I had this client who I was really grateful. They were one of my first, I forget where in the Savvy system, but I think it's obviously very in the beginning, where we put the post out on your social media, just to your public social media, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And they were one of the people who I got from that. It was in our circle, more of my mom's circle of friends. And I helped them with their businesses. They had several different businesses and they wanted me to run their social media. And I took it on because at that time I loved graphic design. I loved doing like keyword research, all of that. And I worked with that client from, I would say, August of 2024 until February of 2025. So they were around for quite a bit. And it was around the change of the year, because we were also strategizing business plans and whatnot. And we started strategizing for the upcoming year, and it wasn't aligning our values anymore and kind of where I saw his business could go versus the results that he wanted. And I just politely. I mean, we had that conversation, those hard conversations with guidance of how to turn down a client from one of the courses.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had that conversation where I wish you the best of luck, but this is no longer, I didn't tell the client this, but it was bringing me more pain to get online and work than it should have. So we just mutually separated ways. And from that, I kind of took on like, okay, I know all clients may not have that same mindset, but it's not something I enjoy anymore. So let's just see where this ends up. So I took it off my list of services, or at least tucked it under quite a bit more. So maybe people didn't ask about it. And that's where we ended up today.
Oh, I love that. So good. Okay. So what I want you to hear from what Meagan just described, and I hope that you heard it too, is that she was paying attention to the energy that was happening inside of her business. I have, asked a question many times, like, how do you feel when you hear that, Slack message or that Voxer message or that email or that text come through and it's the client? And you're like, ooh, like, I'll look at that later. I don't want to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's important to pay attention to. Or like Meagan said, there was just a value disconnect and misalignment that was happening. And you have two choices when that happens inside of your business. You can grit it and deal with it and hold on to it out of maybe fear that you're not going to find another client, or, there's a variety of reasons that we could list. Or you can make the choice of, that's not why I started my business. I didn't start my business to have that knee-jerk reaction or that gut response. No, I want to do what I love doing for people that I enjoy working with. And so when you're on this path after you've launched your business and you're feeling those misalignments, pay attention to when that happens. I know that I had that happen several times. And you better believe I jumped into the Savvy system and found the template for how to fire a client. And I just copied and pasted and customized. And I used that because, again, I get to make the choice. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to work with this client anymore because it's not enjoyable for me. I'm not finding joy out of it. And inside of the Savvy system, our course, that's what we want to do for all of our students, is set them up for success. So when those situations happen, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We're going to help and support you with it. Okay, let me jump into the chat too, and shout out some of these services. Melanie, general admin. Oh, SWOT analysis, SMART goal setting. Girl, I don't know if you've started your VA business, but those are already higher level services that you're offering. That's amazing. General admin, customer service, chat support, HR, graphic design, social media, email. I love that. Again, start with where you can start right now, and then allow yourself to grow and pivot and pay attention. Pay attention to the services that you are looking forward to or that you're procrastinating on a regular basis. And you can make the choice. Am I going to continue? Am I going to completely delete it off of my services? Am I going to hide it a little lower so they may not see it? Or am I only going to keep it in my back pocket and pull it out if and when I want to? You get to make all of those choices. Okay, Meagan, so how has business, and this is not on my list of questions, just follow me for a minute.
Yeah.
How has your business affected your family life? Because you're obviously not doing this, a few hours,
Right.
This is your business. So how does that play into your family rhythms? You like to travel a lot. Paint us a picture for that.
Yeah, so I will be completely honest. In the beginning, it was super hard to find that work-life balance because I found this, and maybe it's just me, maybe it's a me issue, because I found it as a teacher too. I always brought work home. I always wanted like the best for my students. So I always lacked in that balance. So I will say, like, the first probably 3 or 4 months, I was definitely overworking. I was trying to fit it in. Anytime that I had a break from my kids, I was on my computer. After they went to sleep, I was on my computer. But then once I had my systems, my processes, all of that in kind of this balance, it has been a game changer. I make sure I wake up early before my kids. I'm very lucky that I have great sleepers. So they don't usually wake up until around 9:30 a.m., 9:45. So I'm up from 6 to 9, making sure that all of my stuff is done, my must-do tasks for the day before they even get up. So that's been super helpful. And then I'm able to work during their nap time if I need to. Sometimes with cases like these, if my clients can't line up in between their nap time, I only have my meetings available for their nap time as well. So that's like a strict boundary that I normally have. But special instances like this, they're in the next room playing and I can still take care of some work.
Yep.
But the flexibility has been insane. I was telling Rachel before this call that we're a big traveler family. We've been really lucky that we're still able to do that. So just a couple weeks ago, my husband had a work conference in Daytona, and I was able to pack the kids up, pack up my laptop, and I was working from the beach, working at the pool, and stuff like that. So it's made a huge difference there.
Oh, I love that.
I'm going to have a visitor soon.
Okay. That's all right. If it gets cray-cray, I told Megan, I said, I can mute you and I'll just carry on the conversation. It's totally fine. No, I think that's totally cool. And how it adapts to your life and how it changes along the way, and it'll constantly change. And I love that you brought up that it wasn't easy at the beginning. Okay.
Yeah, that, and definitely like having those conversations with my husband, making sure like, what do we want this to look like? Obviously, I did it for the flexibility. Yes, the income's nice, but if it gets too much, we just make sure that we're open communication, the two of us. That way the family still comes first.
Yeah. And what I love too is that it doesn't matter what stage of life that you're in, right? When I started, I already had littles at home that were 4 and 2. Megan had littles at home. I added a third in the midst of building my business, went through pregnancy, had maternity leave. I had a newborn, or maybe you're coming into this and you have adult children or older children or empty nester or looking at retirement. Like, it doesn't matter what phase of life you're in, it can adapt and it can come into your life, and you can build a business around the life that you want, whether that means traveling or whether it means staying put. It doesn't matter. You can make it adapt to yourself. And I want to kind of go back to the point that you said it wasn't easy at the beginning. And I want to breathe into this for a minute. I think so often it can be very easy for us to paint this picture of how amazing virtual assistance is, and that it can change your life. And then you can build it around your lifestyle. And all of that is 100% true. Absolutely. It changed my life. I built it around my life. But I would be amiss if I wasn't honest and said, it does take grit. It does take hard work. It does take creativity and working around if you have kids, or if you're, oh my goodness, if you're working a 9 to 5 and building this as a side hustle, you better believe it's going to take hard work. It's going to take turning off the TV or turning off the doom scroll or saying no to a certain activity because you need to spend time building and growing this business. But if you have the grit and the desire to push through that, you will absolutely reach it to the other side, and you will be able to enjoy that freedom and flexibility. But again, I would be amiss if I tried to paint this rosy picture of it's going to be so easy and simple to start from the beginning. That's why virtual assistance necessarily isn't for everybody, right? And really diving into, why am I appealed to virtual assistance? Why do I want to do it? What do I love about it? What is it going to allow me and my family to do? And what is it going to take for me to do this? Right. And Kayla, totally get it. Like 3 girls under 5, you have a busy life, and you have lots of moving pieces and lots of boo-boos and all of the things that are happening. And you can get more clients, but it takes that hard work and grit to move past that. But it can fit into your lifestyle, no matter what lifestyle that you have. Anything to add, Megan, on that?
Just on that note, I think even like in the beginning, it was, you want more?
Oh, sweet Bubba.
Give me 1 second, okay?
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Okay. Do you want some water?
Everybody give her a shout out. Oh, so sweet. I love it. I go ahead, Megan.
I will say to add, it was difficult in the beginning, and then I found like my flow, my vibe in between.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to add that it's not always a smooth journey the whole way throughout, because you have to make those pivots. You have to accept the fact that things may look a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So even once you get started and you get a little bit of taste of that successful business, you still have to keep that grit. You still have to keep that determination, because it's not all guaranteed.
Yeah. Oh, I 100% agree with all of that. And if you are willing to apply yourself and push through it, you can see the results on the other side. If you're willing to adapt, I think for me, part of who I am, I have a standard of excellence in my mind.
Yes, I agree.
Right. And so when my youngest, right, I was pregnant and newborn, maternity leave, and had him, like there would be times where I struggled with, well, he can't be there with me because that's not professional. But I was talking to my mom one day, and y'all take this. This is so good. I think it was when Jackson was a toddler at the time. Now he didn't stay where I put him, right? Like, like the phase where you put the baby on the floor and they stay within that boundary. Well, he wasn't at that stage anymore. We were on the go. And so I remember saying, Mom, I'm just struggling with how do I fit this in and figure this out with a moving toddler? And she's like, start even at the youngest age of making them a part of your team. Like, yes. Using the language of, your coworker and your teammate and communicating with them. Is he going to understand it too? All of the nuances? No, but it also is a mindset for you. So shout out to all the parents that are trying to do this thing and make it work. I tell my team all the time here at TBS, don't apologize when they show up to team meeting. I want them there. I want to see them. We want to celebrate them. And I didn't hide it from my clients. I traveled pregnant. I traveled with a newborn to a client's event. And if you want to hire and work with Rachel, then you also get to work with my babies too. So
yeah, that's what I was going to add. All of my clients, they know that one of the big reasons I did this is so I can be present for them. So if we have to make those, or they didn't go down for a nap or this, and they show up, I've yet to have a client be like, oh no, your kids? Absolutely not.
Right. And if they did, peace out.
Exactly.
You're not my client. Okay, let me visit the chat for just a minute. And if you have questions, I will try to go back. We'll save some time for Q&A. I'll try to answer as many as I can with the time we have. Does this require any degrees or certification? I don't have any experience. Does your course guide you through step by step? Okay, multiple questions. Do you have to have a degree or certification? Absolutely not. You do not need to have any piece of paper. You do not have to take any course. You do not have to buy any product. Inside of our course, The Savvy System, we walk you through step by step from scratch. Never having owned a business before, we're going to walk you through each step of the way, how to set it up, decide your services, decide your pricing, and walk you through the marketing piece of it. We will walk you through step by step. But here's where I'm going to push back a little bit. You do have experience. You have experience in something that you bring to the table. You, Zipporah, have unique gifts, talents, and abilities to bring to the table. And it doesn't matter if you've gone to college. It doesn't matter if you graduated high school. It doesn't matter if you had a full-time corporate job. The experience that you have allows you to come to the table with unique gifts, talents, and abilities. And while I may offer email management and Meagan may offer email management, we're not going to operate the same. It's going to look very different. And so just looking at, what do I bring to the table? What do I do really well? What do I love doing? Because often what you love doing is what you do really well.
Mhm.
And you want to do it over and over again, right? And so we walk you through specific exercises and worksheets inside the Savvy system to help discover all of that for yourself. But do you have to? No. We would love to have you if it's the next step. You're welcome. All of the comments. Okay, let me ask you this, Meagan, and we're getting close to the end where we do some Q&A. How, Meagan, do you see yourself? How have you grown as an individual?
1 second, we're gonna.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You take care of yourself.
You seen this paint that's like mess free?
No.
Crayola makes it, and you just like tap your finger, and it doesn't get anything on it. It's like they're mess free markers, and then you tap your finger on here, and it transfers to color.
Where was that when I was a teacher or a mom? Meagan, how have you changed as an individual, grown as an individual through becoming a virtual assistant?
So I would say as an individual, I've always been this problem solver, this helper. That's why I went into education to begin with. So I think as that, I've kind of transferred it into my business. I think the biggest mindset change is, it's a twofold with what I struggled with, is that imposter syndrome, kind of like, I know I have the skills, but can I market myself? Can I really make this work? I'm just average Joe. I've never owned a business. I've never done this. Where now that I'm a year out, I'm not saying like I'm too confident, but I am confident in my abilities. I am better at selling myself now, and I just feel more prepared to make this business last and sustain for our family. So I think the biggest change is my mindset.
Oh, that's so good. Okay. Vulnerability moment, y'all. And fill the chat because we're all there and we've all been there and we all will continue to be there at some point in our lives. When it comes to starting your own virtual assistant business, what are you most afraid of? Like what fear is right in front of you? You can see it, smell it, taste it, and it's real and tangible. Meagan, kind of described the imposter syndrome of not being confident that people are going to pay me money to do this. I remember my fear was I've never owned my own business before. How am I going to know all the nuances? And am I going to do this right? Am I going to not pay my taxes correctly?
Yes, that's the big one,
right? Like that was the fear that I could see. It wasn't that I was questioning, could I do the work? No, I knew I could do the work, but am I going to be successful as a business owner? Because I want to do well and I want to succeed. So what are your fears? And I'm going to call them out because again, we connect with each other. We get it. We're all walking through it. And we may not experience that fear now, but we may later on. And Abby loves to say, the best way to face your fear is put it right in front of you, stare it at the face, and speak truth to it to stand it down. Darren says, not being able to attract clients. I get it. Money. Big fear. Imposter syndrome. I've excelled in corporate world, but can I do it on my own? It's a different world, right? Not being able to get clients. Absolutely. There's so many things that you may be facing as far as, can I do this? Is this the right move? And I want you to, again, put that fear straight in front of your face and speak truth to it. Example, Sarah, can I do this on my own? Truth. I can do it on my own. I have been successful. I am good at XYZ. I have done XYZ. Fill in the blank, speak truth to the lie that's facing you. Okay. I don't know how to find clients. I can figure out how to find clients. I'm going to figure out how to find clients. Face the fear and speak the truth. Marketing. Absolutely, Amy. Marketing is something that even our current VAs, even myself, have to overcome and walk through and figure out. I totally get it. Okay. Meagan, let's start to close it up because I want to make sure I leave time for Q&A.
Yeah.
We have lots of people hanging out with us, and I'm getting the sense that a lot of people are kind of exploring. They're looking into virtual assistants. Maybe they're considering purchasing the Savvy system or another product that we offer. What's one piece of advice that you would give them?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
What is one piece of advice you would give those exploring virtual assistants?
So one piece of advice I would give is to just do it. And I know that's so annoying to hear, but anything is possible in this industry specifically, as long as you are willing to put in that determination and do the research. I say that because virtual assistant in this day and age, we're very lucky to have the access to internet. And it kind of goes hand in hand with that imposter syndrome where in the beginning I was hesitant, but then I just did the thing. And I've even taken on some clients where I know how to do the thing that we talked about, but then like, oh, can you do X, Y, Z? And yes, absolutely I can, because I have the power, I have the resources, whether it's Savvy System, that community where we can ask, or just plain old Google. There are so many things out there that can help you be successful in this industry. So it's very lucky that we have that opportunity for this. So that's my piece of advice, is to just do it.
It's too bad that there's another company out there.
I know, right?
Slogan. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Just do it. Like, if you have that feeling, and I remember the feeling watching Abby's live in 2017, having that feeling in my gut of that's it. That's what I want. I want to do that. I want to create that. I want to try that. And if you have that feeling in the gut, let's do it. Let's figure it out. Does it mean that you're going to quit your job yesterday or tomorrow? Probably not. Maybe not. I was listening to a podcast once and she was talking about that gut. Like, I know this is the right decision I need to make. Okay. Affirm yourself. This is the decision I need to make. Then you use your brain and you come up with a plan on how you're going to do that. What are you going to do next? Do I need to get a course? Do I need to do some more research? Whatever that step may be for you. So I love that. Just do it. Let's figure out how we're going to make this work. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a big jump tomorrow. It may just be a little step, but all of those little steps lead you right to that big leap down the way. Okay, we're going to enter into a time of Q&A. So if you have any questions about virtual assistants, if you have any questions to Meagan specifically about her services, her journey, like anything, most anything, drop it in the chat. And we would love to spend some time answering some questions for you. So if I may just kind of point you back to the virtual savvy, y'all. So the virtual savvy, again, and take this as a user and as an employee. I think we have the best training that is out there for virtual assistants. We've heard from many people who have taken others and come into our world and have taken our course that they say the same thing. If you jump over to our website, our team dropped a link, maybe they can do that again, to the free 60-minute training that we have available, all about what many of you said is marketing. And Abby talks about her 3 top ways to find clients. It's a free training. At the end of that training, you'll learn about Savvy System and learn about that course that we offer here. You can also learn about the different products that we have on our website. We have varying different products, memberships available to you. We want to help and support you exactly where you are inside of your journey. Meagan, let's start with this question from Darren. Why did you do this, or why do you do this? Why do you continue to do this? Great.
Yeah, so I think the easy why for me is for my family, first and foremost. I always dreamed about being a mom. I'm so thankful that I am able to be a mom. So that is my first why, is just to be present in their lives and hopefully not miss many of the milestones that they hit. So that is my It was my why when I started. It's still my why today, and it's my why to keep going for them.
I love that. Darren, I'm going to ask you, why are you exploring virtual assistants? Let us know in the chat. I'd love to hear your response. What services, Meagan, are you offering right now?
So currently I kind of do 3 big broad categories. And usually when I have my discovery calls, that's when I break down each individual service that could be within that. So broadly, at the top of it, I put digital marketing, then graphic design, and then general admin tasks. So mostly with my clients right now, I'm focusing on website design, email marketing, and kind of overall optimization of their websites. And then here recently, I actually took a course and got certified to do meta advertising. So that's a big thing that I'm moving into.
Okay, again, if you've heard Meagan's story, if you've been here the whole time, that's not where she started.
Right.
She started with what she could offer right now, and then just organically, naturally grew and learned things and sought out different things to grow and expand her business. So I love following that journey and see that happen. Shout out to Ellie, Savvy System, and Savvy Volt. Savvy Volt is our VA growth membership. It's a monthly or annual membership that we offer. It's a great membership to have. Over 50 plus trainings. I think we're over 60 now. Team, can you confirm that? I'm pretty sure we're over 60 trainings of tech or niche services. We have weekly coaching calls. It's a legit membership. It's awesome. Tressie asks, what types of computer programs do you find most beneficial beyond Microsoft Suite? Great question, Tressie. I'll go first, Meagan, then you back me up with because you do a few different platforms than I would. I'm a Google Suite fan, Google Workspace fan. There's so many abilities, things that you can do, whether it's docs or sheets or chat. And on certain tiers, you also have a call scheduler that's built in. You also have an email, or not an email, I'm sorry, like a signature that you can use, put your contracts in there. It's just an all-encompassing, and a lot of people are using it. I love that. For project management, my favorite is ClickUp. Other great options are Trello or Asana. For client management, like keeping all of my clients straight, I'm a Dubsado fan. They're also getting ready to release Dubsado 3.0, which we're really excited about. Do you have to have all of those when you start? No, you don't need to have all of those. You really just need a good email address and a good way to manage the clients that are coming in, whether that be a platform like Dubsado or Honeybook, or you use your Google, or even Microsoft. I'm not as familiar with them on what they have, but you do not have to have all of the fancy platforms. In fact, we want you to bootstrap it, meaning do it as free as possible at the beginning, and then look at ways that you can invest in yourself, in your business. Meagan, what are some of your favorite platforms?
Yeah, so definitely Google Suite girl. It's great for collaborating because a lot of the stuff that I do is graphic design. It's a great way for my clients. We create shared folders and they can upload whatever media files there. So that's first and foremost. Because I do a lot of website work and email marketing, I love Go High Level. That's definitely a huge investment though. So you kind of have to run the numbers to make sure what you're doing, it's sustainable. But I love Go High Level. And then for me personally, for my business, I'm a Honeybook person. I know Honeybook and Dubsado are hand in hand. So that's where I run all of my proposals, contracts. It's where I collect payments. That's a great way. And then something that also helps me as a business owner is QuickBooks. I love QuickBooks Online. Makes it easy for your life, for your taxes. And then because this was my first year, it's something that I would have wanted to hear if I was on the other end just starting. But QuickBooks made it super easy and efficient for my accountant to also pull the reports, and it made my taxes go so much easier.
Such a good point. I forgot about QuickBooks.
You said that earlier. That was my biggest fear, I will admit. Starting my own business, I did not want to like do anything wrong. I did not want to be in trouble with the law. So I wanted to make sure everything was set up correctly. And QuickBooks helped with the expenses and categories and all of that.
Yeah. Oh, great tip. Also, a precursor to Google, or not Google, QuickBooks. I started with Wave. You can find it under Wave Apps. I don't remember if it's .com or .co, but Wave is a great platform that kind of operates like QuickBooks, in meaning you can send an invoice. You can also connect to your bank account. You can get a little bit more nitty gritty with reconciliation, right? Assigning charges to different tiers. Your accountant can use Wave, or your bookkeeper if you decide to go that route. And I know as I'm speaking, I hear myself like all of these things that we're saying are not essential for the very beginning. When you first get started, the goal is how quickly can I send a contract the easiest way to get them to sign it? Yes, thumbs up. And how can I as quickly and easily send them an invoice to get paid? And then as you grow your business, as you figure out the systems and tools and platforms that you like, then you make the choices on investments in platforms that you make along the way. Sarah asks about time tracking, which, Megan, I didn't ask you this. Do you do hourly packages or do you do flat rate?
So I, for the most part, do flat rate. I really push monthly retainers because who wants to track their hours? But in some cases, if it's just like a low level service, I'll go ahead and track hours. I require them to pay 5 hours at a time. So it kind of ends up being a monthly retainer, but I use Clockify to create those reports. I just have the free version. So I'm able to set my timer. You can write a detailed description of what you're working on. And then the thing that I love, you can add different tags, different clients, and it automatically generates the report for you. All free.
Oh, that's so cool. Sarah, that's Clockify. Another good one is Toggl, Toggl. And both are free. Free versions are great. And it allows you to track time for your clients and send them detailed reports if you want to. We recommend inside the Savvy system here at the Virtual Savvy is that you start with offering hourly packages, especially if this is something new that you're doing, because it gives you a really good picture of the time that it's taking to achieve the goal or to deliver the services. Eventually, you want to consider, is it possible for me to move to a flat rate? Because I guarantee you, you're going to get better, you're going to get more efficient, and you don't want to be penalized for being really good at your job and getting things done quick. No, you want your prices to actually go up. But start at the hourly and then look at what does it look like to go to a more flat rate. As a mom of littles, I hated tracking my time because if somebody fell or somebody needed a snack or somebody needed their paint, then I have to stop the clock. What if I forget? What if I forget to start the clock? And so as quickly as possible, I went to flat rate packages. Sometimes that's not the best choice. Yeah, go ahead.
I will add in there, don't be afraid to make that switch, because my first client, I actually started out hourly, and I would track all of my minutes and keep it in a spreadsheet. That was before I knew about Clockify. But then once we hit the mark of, I'm getting really good at what I'm doing, I have systems, I have processes, we just had the conversation of, hey, I'm still providing you this amount of value. Let's go ahead and switch this to just a monthly commitment. That way, the same things are happening every single month. I know I'm getting paid every single month. So it was just that open conversation of when to switch. It's not always a big, scary conversation, because if you already have the right client, they're going to value the work that you provide them. So it'll be an easier switch on you.
Yes, I remember making that switch, and I remember the relief that not only happened for myself. I don't have to collect my time anymore, but the relief of the client. They didn't have to worry about the time that was being used, or are they going to run out of time? Are they giving me enough work? Nope. We have worked out the specific deliverables, and I know, and they know what has to get done. So it is more of a relief. I love that you brought that up. Veronica asks, is $5K a month before or after taxes? Did you bring up $5K, Megan?
I think that's the heading of like our.
Oh, yes, that is the title of our show. Thoughts on that?
So once again, I mean, I don't specialize in taxes or money. I'm just, a virtual assistant out here. So I think it's before. I know with HoneyBook and I'm sure Dubsado, it all takes its own percentages out, and then you use those reports to help with deductions in the future. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it's probably before taxes.
Yeah, and what we teach here, again, we are US based. We have students and members from all over the world. But when we talk about taxes, we're primarily talking about US. And we recommend that you put aside 30% from what the client is paying you on, whether it's a monthly basis or a package rate, that you put aside 30% to pay for taxes. Now, are you going to have to pay all of that? Typically not, because you're keeping good records and receipts of all of your costs. Any course, membership, worksheets that you purchase for your business, those are all tax deductible here in the US. And so when you get to the end and you're looking at, okay, here was my revenue, here was my expenses, then you may not have to pay those taxes, whether you do it quarterly or whether you do it at the end of the year. So great question.
Just personally for me, I do it like month by month. So if I know how much income I'm getting in a month, I take that, because that 30% recommendation, probably it's in my head, so it probably came from the course. I opened up, when I did my business account, I have a business checking and a business savings. So I just, once the end of the month is near, I just transferred over into the savings.
I love that. Good system. Okay, what do we got? Let's do two more. Let's see if I can squeeze in two more questions. April, what's the difference between Savvy System and Savvy Vault? I love this question. Savvy System, quick answer, is our signature course. It's very comprehensive. I think it's over 130 lessons at this point. And we walk you through launching your business from scratch, growing your business through marketing, and scaling your business, no matter if you do that with a team or not with a team. So super comprehensive. Most of our students don't even get to the end because they get so busy with clients and they have to pause before they finish the course. So that's Savvy System. And then Savvy Vault is a monthly membership. Okay, Savvy System, you're paying for the course, you're paying for the product. Membership is ongoing for as long as you wish. We have a monthly option, or we have an annual option. For those of you in Savvy System, you get a little bit of a discount off of either of those prices. But in Savvy Vault, we're growing our virtual assistant business. So we're learning new skills. We're learning new platforms. We're learning new services that we can offer. We're supporting each other every week. We have a group coaching call. We have one tomorrow that I'm leading, and we come together, and it's just a really cool community and membership that those in the thick of owning their own virtual assistant business can be a part of. Great question. All right, one more. Olga, you win. Does the client need to have Dubsado, HoneyBook, and Asana? So here's my rule of thumb, and Megan, you can add anything onto this at the end. If you are using the platform for their business, meaning Dubsado, HoneyBook, if you are using that platform for their clients, like the clients that they're sending agreements to, that they're getting invoices from, then they own that platform, and they will share access to you to be able to help them inside of that platform. Same with Asana, which is a project management tool, or Trello, or ClickUp. If you're using it inside of their business, then they own the cost of that platform. They're sharing access with you. If you are using Dubsado or HoneyBook for your clients, then you own that platform, and you are responsible for the charges and the upkeep, et cetera, et cetera. And I do Dubsado. Megan does HoneyBook. I've worked with clients in both, and I get access to their separate account because I'm managing their clients. Anything to add on to that, Megan? How do you get access from platforms for your clients?
So it varies based on client relationship. I'll go ahead and be honest. Which ones? I have some clients who if I'm closer with them or they trust me, they'll just give me their logins. Now, do I recommend that? Maybe not all the time, but that's a person-to-person basis. I will say Go High Level is a different one compared to Dubsado and Honeybook, because the whole purpose of Go High Level is that it white labels these products. Yeah. So I have like an agency with Go High Level, and I'm able to add my clients on underneath. So everything is white labeled. That term just means that I'm basically reselling. I'm a sponsor of that product. So Go High Level is a little bit different, where they won't need their own account. They're just a sub account under me. But I agree with Rachel on most of those other products. If it's something that is to do with their systems, their processes of how they're running their business, then yes, they should be the main account holders. But things for like Canva or other little things like that, I usually just use my accounts and either give them shared permission where they can view it, but they shouldn't have to pay for a Canva version themselves.
Yeah, I love that. Y'all asked some great questions today. Thanks for following the assignment and accepting it of having an engaging live. Most of you hung out for the whole time. Super fun to hang out with you today. There's lots of links in the comments for resources. Shout out to Sarah, my team member, who was here helping me along the way. So grab those links. If you have any questions, our email address is hello@thevirtualsavvy.com. Our team is there and ready and willing to help and support you, point you in the right direction of resources. If you have additional questions, don't hesitate to drop them. If you're watching the replay, tag me. I'll come back. Our team member will come back and answer those questions for you. Thanks again, Meagan, for joining me today. It was so fun to see you and your sweet littles in the live. There's my furry one in the background. He's just napping. Oh, the life. Oh, the life. Y'all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.